Hey guys, Akil Mohideen here. Today, I'm here with a $550 gaming PC build. So without further ado, let's get started. Alright guys, so let's start things off with the CPU. The CPU that I chose was the AMD FX 6300. It is a $99 CPU on Amazon. It's $49 off right now, and it comes with a base clock speed of 3.5 GHz, but it overdrives, which is AMD's version of Turbo Boost, to 4.1 GHz. But that's not the best selling point of the CPU. The best is that it is a 6-core CPU, which means that all 6 cores are running at 4 GHz for you, which is going to be able to deliver tons and tons of power for your gaming. Now, most people say for games, what you really need is a powerful GPU, but that isn't necessarily true. Yes, it is true for campaign, but when you're finished with a campaign, most people play multiplayer, and multiplayer games are way more CPU intensive than what most people believe. So having 6 cores is really going to make sure that none of those frames are dropping when you're playing online with your friends. Now, the GPU we chose was the Sapphire Radeon R9 280. It's a fantastic GPU. It has 3 gigabytes of GDDR5 RAM. 3 gigabytes, which is a ton of RAM that is going to be future-proof for you when you keep this computer down the road for 4 or 5 years. 3 gigabytes is going to be plenty for you to play all your games on medium high settings. Maybe even 1080p, maybe even 2K that you want to play your games in. 3 gigabytes is going to be plenty. And this GPU is going to be able to handle it at 50 frames per second easy, 60, maybe even 70, depending on the game. It has 384-bit color depth, which is really important, which means the colors on this, the color reproduction on this specific GPU is going to be out of this world. The regular color depth, the one that I have on my 750 Ti, is 128-bit. So this is 3 times better colors. Just to give you an idea of how fantastic this GPU is. I wish I had bought it, because right now it's $110 off on Amazon. It's $189 right now, but usually it's $300. It comes with 1,792 stream processors, which is just fantastic. But the motherboard that this GPU and CPU is going to be on is the Gigabyte 970A D5 3P. It's a $78 motherboard. It has a max RAM configuration of 32 gigabytes with 4 slots. It does handle a dual GPU setup, which I thought was a pretty important feature to go with this in case you want to throw in a second GPU on top. And in case you don't remember, this is an AMD GPU, which means that any 2 modeled AMD GPUs will work together in Crossfire. So on this motherboard, that's going to be important. You can throw in this $200 GPU that we got and then buy a $150 one or even a $300 one later down the road and just pop it in. And you'll be getting an amazing performance because this motherboard allowed it. It has 8 USB ports. If you care about that, 2 of them are USB 3.0. No onboard graphics on this motherboard. I just want to make that very clear. It does not have an HDMI, VGA, DVI port on the motherboard. You have to hook it directly up to your GPU. The reason it doesn't have onboard graphics is because it's a little bit cheaper of a motherboard at $78. I mean, you're getting a great deal at $78, but there's no onboard graphics with it. I don't think that's a big problem because we have a GPU that is fantastic and working great, but if that's really a bad deal for you, then you guys can find another motherboard with onboard graphics. Just keep in mind that the CPU is an AM3 Plus socket, so you want to find a motherboard that is compatible with that. For the RAM, we went with HyperX 8GB 1600 MHz RAM. It's a 2x4 GB kit. 8 GB is honestly plenty for most people for when you're doing games. You're not going to be needing more than 8 GB. If you really want to throw in like 12 or something, hey, you know what? All power to you. But I honestly think that for budget reasons, 8 GB is going to be plenty of RAM. PSU, 500 watt Corsair PSU. This is the holy grail of PSUs. It's the one that you've got to have, the Corsair. It is the most stable of them all. Honestly, if you're buying a PSU, Corsair is honestly going to be one of your best options because it just has so many reviews and so many likes and blah, blah, blah. You know that it is the best PSU out there in terms of compatibility and stableness. So it comes with everything you need, all of the cables. I made sure of that. Storage, Western hard drive, Western Digital 1 terabyte Caviar Blue drive, $55. 1 terabyte is going to be plenty for all of your games and all your music and your pictures and your screen recordings. If you want to buy an SSD, I would recommend the H40 Evo 120 gigabyte for $80, and then buy a hard drive on top of that. If you want to do that, go ahead, but this was a budget build, so you know what, I just stuck with the 1 terabyte blue. And that 6-core CPU and that graphics card, mostly the CPU, is going to allow Windows to boot up really fast, no matter how slow of this hard drive that you're running. But if you want an SSD, I would buy it. Okay guys, so I hope you liked the build. If you have any comments, concerns, or want any help with any builds you're doing, or you want me to make a build with a certain budget, just go ahead and leave a comment or email me. I'll have my email in the description. But other than that, I think that pretty much wraps up for this video, so I guess I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.